Welcome to Relish Books. Today I am reviewing A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. I've been working on this for a couple weeks and I just finished it this morning, so my impressions are going to be very fresh and try to keep it pretty short. Just some things that I liked about it, some things where I felt like it could be better. But first of all, this was the first Mark Twain book that I really enjoyed. I have not been I've been kind of a fan of Mark Twain as an author, and of course, his vast influence on writing is undeniable. I've kind of always held him up in my mind as a great writer, while at the same time I haven't really liked the things that I've read by him so far. Life on the Mississippi I enjoyed, but it was very just kind of a bunch of little things put together, and it was mostly, nonfiction, just experiences that he had kind of put in a sort of fictional setting, just like a lot of descriptions of this way of life and of the Mississippi River. Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, his biggest, most influential books, I do not like. I'm not going to say that they aren't important in the history of literature. They have been extremely important. They have had immense effect on the literary world. Huckleberry Finn in particular has had so much influence on modern writing. Just huge works, very important, but I did not personally enjoy them. Maybe part of that was because even though they have a lot of depth in that they're addressing deeper problems of American civilization of the time, they are kind of written more for younger people. There's these adventure stories. The people that I've heard talk about them that really liked them were people who read them when they were young and connected with them. But I've also heard some people who really didn't connect with them even when they were young. Tom Sawyer in particular. I don't know. They just were not my thing. And Mark Twain is so much known for his humor. And I felt like he was just trying so hard in Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn that they just didn't work for me. I didn't think that they were funny. I felt like his satirical style and kind of his irony went too far. It was too much. And they were just, to me, and the racial things that he was trying to address and expose, a lot of it, again, I can appreciate it in a historical sense. I know that they were important, but they just went too far for me. It was, they were just, especially Huckleberry Finn, just made me really angry. I totally get what he was doing, but yeah, I just didn't enjoy it. And Tom Sawyer, I just think that Tom Sawyer is just the most annoying character that's pretty much ever been. So really didn't like those, but I still do admire Mark Twain in a lot of ways, and so I wanted to read more of his stuff. And A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court is very fun. I really liked what he did here because he was really taking a lot of problems that he had, again, with the time period, and social and political problems, and these great contradictions, and all these problems that he saw, all these problems with government, with race, with just authorities and injustices and inequalities, all these things, and he put them in this setting of King Arthur's court, and he made it really funny. I think his humor works so much better in this book. He really hit the mark a lot better, and he also, it just works well. He's not trying to appeal to a younger audience, I don't feel like. This is for an adult audience who can kind of appreciate the irony better. And also, I felt like he switched so well between being like really funny, like with his weird, wonky, over the top humor, to really appealing to human compassion. There are these very brutal and poignant scenes, and he didn't, it'll be really funny in one moment, and then it'll be like heartbreaking in another moment, and he didn't try to, it's just kind of like that by turns, and he didn't try to like force them together, and it felt a lot more real. It felt a lot more like actual people. I loved his portrayal of like the knights and King Arthur, because obviously he's being very, very critical of the times. He's being very critical of this system of slavery, of the nobility, of all these things. And yet he so clearly shows what's like the goodness in these people, and their ignorance, but also blended with truly great things in them too. And I felt like he just did that so well. I really liked all of that. I felt like the setting worked very well. It surprised me in a couple ways. The book did. I felt like, I don't know, when I started reading it, I thought it was going to be more, that it would flow together more smoothly. I think this is a style Twain has in a lot of his work, where things are very broken up. There's not a lot of explanation. And in fact, you have to read like the little preface before the book starts to even get the actual beginning of the story. Things are very just like thrown together. One chapter, you'll be having this like story, and then sometimes the next chapter picks up where that one left off with the continuance of the story, or it'll jump forward a few years, or it'll take on a totally different topic. And in some of his books, I feel like that doesn't work very well. In this one, it was a little disjointed in some ways, but I felt like it still worked fine once you kind of get past the expectation that it's going to flow together like you expect that a novel will. Once you kind of have a feeling for the writing and what he's doing with it, I felt like it worked fine. But again, it can be a little disjointed, and nothing is really explained. And that's, again, just the style of the writing, like how things worked. And I think a lot of the humor lies in that, this Yankee was able to just build these giant factories and make all these modern conveniences in the time of King Arthur. And it's like, no explanation of like, okay, this one man knew how to do all these things, and he was able to get all the resources to do these things and teach all the people to do these things in this short amount of time. Obviously, it's impossible and over the top, but that's just part of the story, and you just have to accept that as the setting and the humor and move on from that. There are a lot of like sweet moments and little things that are enjoyable. Again, he doesn't really develop the characters a lot. It doesn't work like a normal novel in that way. It's really just like a parody novel, a comedy, and really a political novel too, written to explore different ideas and expose some things, but in a fun way. So yeah, the sweet things, the characters that you really like, you might only get them for a short bit, a minute or two here and there. They aren't really developed. The main character isn't even really developed all that much. You kind of just have to, go off the bit that he tells you about himself and how he approaches different things. Some of the supporting cast I really wish were developed more. Clarence and Sandy. I feel like it would have been fun to have a little bit more of a novel style where he spent some actual time and showed you actual moments and interactions and developments with these characters, but that's really just not the way the book works. So again, you kind of just have to accept the way that it works and appreciate it for that, because if you come to it with different expectations, I think it is going to be disappointing. But for what it is, I think it's really well written. Mark Twain obviously was brilliant. And again, his humor works so much better in this one for me. This is definitely my favorite Twain book so far, and I liked it enough that I might try some of his other books at some point as well. But yeah, this is the one that had been like really recommended to me. if you don't like other Twain stuff, you might like this one. And I think it's definitely worth the read, even if not for the humor. There's just a lot of really great and insightful looks at human nature and human behavior and reactions to things like through the years, through the centuries, and comparing then to now in a really neat way. So overall, I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it. And yeah, I think it's a pretty good one. Not going to be like one of my all-time favorite novels, but for what it is and for Mark Twain, I was pleased with it. I enjoyed it, and I think I enjoyed it more than I thought I would based on his other stuff. So, yep, that's what I think about A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.